This is Overtime, a live series brought to you by Lynx and War Room Media, where we talk about basically anything we want. And here are your hosts, Greg Williams and Ryan Ray.
What's up, man?
What's happening, buddy?
Hanging in there. Another day.
We're back for another week, man.
We are.
Getting pretty consistent here.
Unfortunately, we can't do next week, though.
Why can't we do next week? What you got going
I
on
got
next
that
week?
thing down in Houston I was telling you about, remember?
Oh, that's right. I think that's going to work for us anyway. Seems
Yeah.
like
So,
I got to do some traveling over those couple of days, but
yeah, this is we get consistent.
That's all right. There's plenty of good stuff. I can make a quick one for next week out of some of the stuff we've done. So, but yeah, some of those video clips we put together for our
there you go.
For our best of is pretty good. So, Ryan, we are sponsored by 14 and 7 Apparel. They're a small family-owned apparel company based in Alberta. Roots in oil and agriculture. So everyone get in there, download the Lynx application and visit 14and7 and get your 10% off today. Once you download the app, then you can visit 14and7apparel.ca and use the discount code that is sent by email with your email verification once you register with us. And we have some exciting news on the Lynx side of it. We're in our final stages with Apple trying to get approved. I say trying. We've been through 2 revisions right now. We had to provide them a video of the one-on-one chat and some of the other new features that we had in the application, so they could do some background checks on us. So yeah, we're excited about getting that thing out there.
Awesome. Is it pretty easy? Like, are they pretty clear about what they want, or is it kind of vague and you got to figure it out?
Man, it's like everything else. It's kind of like what tax assessor you get, like how deep they want to go into your business. So same way on the side with Apple. You know, it depends on whichever developer or whichever person is reviewing it. And lands in their inbox, how thorough they are.
I gotcha.
We've had some that it's taken us 5 rounds to go through, and some have been like poof right through.
Wow.
So yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate the ones that are thorough because it catches, small loopholes that we forgot or things that things that we didn't pick up on. So, I mean, it's a good exercise for us anyway. So,
Awesome.
All right. All right. Talk a little bit about the oil prices. IEA's report, Spain bans oil and gas exploration. Kluber throws some heat. Pillar takes a 94.5 mile an hour to the face. Some UFC 262, Triller and UFC, and booze from Chernobyl, Ryan. So, yeah, we.
You take the first sip. That's all I'm going to say.
It's when we get to that part, we'll have a chat about it. But it's crazy. Some of the things it's in this world, man. It's crazy. Okay. So that's WTI 63 and some change, and a Brent at 66 and a quarter, a little under a quarter. Ryan, any comments? I have some, but you
go first. You go first.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think the nuclear deal chats is doing very much for it, but I mean, I don't think it's a huge impact. But I mean, weather we're having certainly over the last 4 or 5 days is probably affecting a little bit. But I mean, there was a build, or they calling for a build of 1.6 million barrels, but I don't know. That's my thoughts right now.
Yeah, I mean, summer demand's coming, so I think prices.
Is it?
You don't think so? People aren't going to get.
I'm just saying, is it? I don't know, because I mean, okay, so I think the people that the only ones that are going to be like blowing going are the ones that have just decided that they don't want to be part of the vaccine movement. So now those guys have been traveling since last year. They never stopped. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
So we're going to talk about this later on, and so but in depth. But just for perspective, how many people do you think were actually vaccinated at the event you were at last weekend? What percentage? Or the Canelo fight 2 weekends ago?
I'm gonna probably estimate less than 20%.
Right. I think it's always hard, and I don't know what it was like in 1930 without social media, and all you had was like a few radio stations. I have no idea how people thought or figured out stuff. What makes
I
it?
don't either, Ryan.
You're closer than
And
me.
I'm older.
You're
Yeah, I
closer.
was gonna.
You're closer. 1940s. No, but no. And so in the 30s, I don't know if people were more complicit with what they're told in the media or less. But today the problem is that you get on social media and you can find opinions from any perspective, which is fine. But the other thing is you can get trapped into certain opinions being vocalized at a disproportionate rate than what they actually are. And so, a lot of stuff like the vaccine, pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine, or whether you can get one or not, it's hard to know how much of that is true. People actually going to get it, or they're not going to get it. Will it actually impact their travel or not? I don't know.
Well,
I
Ryan, what do you think the like the largest traveling say mechanisms are, worldwide? What are we talking cruise ships? Are we talking planes? What are we talking about here?
I
Because
think about summer driving demand. People going
okay,
on
if you're
vacation all the time.
okay, so summer driving demand's probably going to be different than the two that I mentioned, surely. But
Yeah, well,
we're just
cruises
looking,
aren't even going, and
huh?
international cruises are not going,
That's right.
and international flights are basically, I don't say non-existent, but they're not like they were.
No, it's still pretty tough. So I mean, it's not like the doors open and whatever. But so I agree. Summer driving demand, yes. The rest of the mechanisms, no.
Yes, yeah, same page.
I still think there's a long road to go. If you're out there and you're traveling international for work or anything like that, you're probably already vaccinated. I am as well, just simply because I don't want to do multiple PCR tests in and out of different countries and everything else, as well as being quarantined for a biggest
Right.
percentage of my life. So anyway, that's kind of my story where I'm at. But again, you're right, summer demand is coming, but again, you know, it's going to be localized, domestic. So
Yeah, yeah, that's all I'm talking about. Localized, well, and European summer demand, schools out, driving demand wherever you have nations with wealth that travel for vacation, especially driving trip vacation. The U.S. is the number one consumer of that. I expect that to go up, and so that will help prices over the summer. As far as your point about the international stuff, yeah, I think we're still a long way a ways from that as well.
tons of it.
Yeah.
All right. So a little bit of market news. Not that it's much to bring up, but just a couple of comments. So the IEA dropped this report out there the other day. This net zero report. So I mean, some call it a bombshell report, and I'm like, meh. Meh. I mean, of course, this is the IEA swapping sides again. So they issued that report, but they were previously on the stance of, hey, we're running out. We need to drill, explore, find new resources, blah, blah, blah. Which this kind of report it's not saying like not do this, as there will still be demand. But I think overall the report was kind of taken semi out of context by the rest of the world when they said, if we want to be actual net zero by 2050, if you want to be one of the cool kids, then we don't need to be going out looking for new fossil fuel exploration. I mean, but Ryan, I was never a cool kid, so I mean, I don't. Sometimes I don't pick up on some of that in between line context. But were you a cool kid?
No, no, never been accused of being cool in my life. Not one time. I mean, here's the thing, Greg. Coming off a year where we were told, where there was a huge debate over.
You're not cool, Ryan.
No, I'm not, and it's still not cool.
I think you're cool. I think.
Oh, thank you. Well, there we go. I've been accused of being cool. No.
One fan.
Well, you're
I
cool.
bet you don't even have anybody in Granbury that thinks you're cool.
No,
maybe your
you're
wife.
Cool too, Greg. So there we go.
Thanks, buddy.
Now we're even. Now we're both cool. Cool kids. Cool kids.
That's
like
it.
that.
That's
Two
it.
kids.
That's it.
But I think we spent 2020 being told follow the science, trust the experts, and of course, most of that was severely overhyped. And if you follow the story, you realize that this whole notion of settled science, which you should have known beforehand, is bunk. Is definitely bunk now. However, the other thing is that should be apparent is that the media, by and large, are lowbrow, to steal from Joe Biden, Neanderthal thinkers that don't really have original thoughts and just regurgitate what they hear. And so you look for the IEA, which is not the same thing as the EIA, and they go, oh wow, they released this report. Well, okay, anyone with any, whether it's me talking or the IEA or Greg or whatever, who's paying you? Are you being paid by certain groups? Do you get funding from someplace? I heard someone the other day point out, and I need to get this on the podcast because he pointed out something about some topic, and the topic was that his point is that all of these people were funded by the government to produce this research, and he was kind of questioning their motivation. It's like, right, same thing with climate change. They're all funded by the government to produce that research, and so it's we don't stop and pause and think. So the IEA, you're right. They're flipping sides, and guess what? They'll flip sides in 6 months if the wind blows that way. I don't really think these people believe this stuff. I think they are here to push out the agenda. I'm not saying we have a healthy debate on climate change or carbon emissions or any of that stuff. And the final thing I say is that most of these reports, I think, are extremely pessimistic about growth in places like Africa or wherever.
Yeah. No, I absolutely 100% agree with that. Very pessimistic. But again, I mean, if it's flavor of the day or whatever it may be, their copy, it doesn't really help them out much by the headlines and all in the text. So
it matters. No, there's
it slings a lot of gloom and doom, and people that are I'm not going to call less thinkers here because that's not the right term. I mean, people that are less motivated to find the truth about things will take that and go with it 100%.
No, you're dead on. They have a huge voice, and they get amplified by the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or whatever big media outlet.
Just FYI, we don't get amplified by the New York Times.
No, we get censored if anything, and so but no, it's one of those things to where so for instance, when Trump was in office, they would often say President Trump baselessly said, or without facts, Trump claimed this. I always found it interesting because a lot of times what they're talking about was Trump's opinion. It's like, well, okay, it's an opinion. Okay, a lot of opinions are baseless. It's just an opinion. However, when you come to something like this, I don't ever read them if it fits their narrative. Ever read government funded agency or agency supported by Greenpeace or whatever it is claims this. Like they don't.
What I typically do, Ryan, is I go and I find about maybe 2 or 3 kind of really interesting, if you can call it interesting, kind of lines of text, and then I go look. Right. Then I go find things, and I go, read over here, read over there, and actually see if it's backed by anything else out there. Typically I don't take it and just say, hey, well, here's the report, believe it or not. I mean, definitely don't believe everything you read. Don't believe the hype. Don't let the facts.
Yeah, thank you. Final point I'll say is Bill Gates, big purveyor of all things climate change, bought a $40-something million estate on the beachfront property in San Diego during the middle of the pandemic last year in June. So just before you run off the deep end, if you will, of oceans rising, keep notice that the people who say that the oceans are rising
all have beachfronts home.
All have beachfronts, yes. So.
Yeah, I mean
they moved to Kansas.
It sure lends to the property value. Yeah, but don't know how many planes he has too. I've never even asked this question.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Hangar planes.
But yeah, when Bill Gates buys Kansas, like because he could buy Kansas, when he buys Kansas from the United States, then you might be concerned about the ocean's level rising. But when he has beachfront property, we good. We good.
I'd be interested why he would want Kansas anyway. So I mean,
because the oceans are rising. No, I'm saying like when he moves to Kansas, because there's nothing in Kansas. No offense to Kansas. When he moves to Kansas, then at least you could say, well, maybe he believes it because Kansas won't be underwater when the ocean's level rise. But when he lives in San Diego, it's gone. Whew, gone. So
not just San Diego, but all the way to the Grand Canyon. So yeah. So
yeah.
There's this thing in there where water would probably come up between them and the rest of the country. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway.
No, I it's kind of one of those things where you have to be, you have to understand the basis of one part of the conversation and then the other part of the conversation. You have to somewhere in there, try to reasonably deduct some kind of sense from both sides. And if it's not, like you said, if one side of it's government funded and the other side of it's privately, there's still someone paying somebody to do something. They're not doing all of it for free. And so when you get someone paying, for something, there's always an agenda that comes with it. And so, yeah, you're right. Take it and go. But also, I mean, just for everybody listening out there, I think the next OPEC meeting, Ryan, I think it's June 1. Is that right? Is that right? I'll have to go back and look at that.
Something like that. They meet monthly, so yeah, something like that.
So I would probably be more concerned at that than I would be at IEA. So anyway.
Right.
Next one here. Another one of those countries there, Ryan, that Spain is banning oil and gas exploration or has banned it. So although they are saying that they are doing this to supercharge renewable energy. Now, this is from a renewable energy transition website. Anyway, they are saying they want to add more renewables to the national energy mix. So what they're really saying is that they will now be importing more. The climate change energy transition law, which passed by Spanish Parliament last week, immediately bans new oil and gas concessions, prohibits the sale of fossil fuel vehicles by 2040, and makes it illegal, to produce fossil fuels in the country from the start of 2043. Okay, so here's my comment to all of our listeners in Spain. I've got a lot of friends that have, vacation places in Spain. And my question here is, what will replace that huge, expensive F1 venue in Barcelona? As far as I know, right now, they're hybrid. Some of them are hybrid, some of them are not, but all of them are running on fossil fuels, if you want to call it fossil. I don't call it fossil. But how about tourism? I mean, are the planes going to be banned as well from landing in there if they're burning some kind of fossil fuel in the tank? I mean, how ridiculous is all of this getting? So, Ryan,
well, the other thing is, and we talked about this before, is the strain on the grid. You're saying the grid that you're about to put an immense amount of pressure on it as you add all these EVs, and it's not entirely clear. I'm not an expert on anyone's grid, much less Spain's, but it's not entirely clear to me that Spain's grid is going to be able to handle all of this, especially by 2040. Like we think
2040,
we think that's a long time away, but as far as grid and power baseload capacity, that's not very far away.
None whatsoever. I mean, and it took. I'd have to. I'm gonna just throw a dart here. I mean, some of the original, grid I'm probably sitting in was put in place in probably the late 70s.
Right.
So and I mean, and some of it's still some of the original grid. And and if they haven't started now, I don't see it really being in place by then. They're gonna have to, do a lot of work between now and then. But it is a, let's say, semi-wealthy country. It is a country that's better off than some other places in that part of the world. But it's just, it's still one of those things. I mean, I hope 25 years from now, everyone that's kind of behind all of this kind of craziness looks back and goes, we kind of made a mistake there, and they kind of like slide out of the picture, and they let us do what we do best, which is innovate our way through all of this. So, and which we've been doing, we've been innovating our way through it since the revolutionary. The industrial age. So this is what we do. This is how we do it. We get on with it.
I unplugged my light here. I agree. I'm trying to plug it back in. There we go.
Even much prettier in the dark.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that before. Hey, can you turn that light back off? Yeah, I've heard that before.
I thought you said you're prettier in the dark. You've heard that before, so that's a good one.
Yeah. I've heard that one before. So.
All right. So we get off the depressing market stuff. We'll move over here to something a little bit better, which is sports. Well, I wouldn't say this is as good, but I mean, this one's good. This one's good. Okay, so for Corey, this was good. Okay, so Ryan, we rarely talk about baseball here. I guess maybe it just goes in seasons. Normally, we're talking about football, basketball, or UFC. But today, I wanted to share this about Corey. But he threw his second no-hitter in 2 days, so that puts him 6th for the season so far. I want to take the listeners back. I mean, if you played baseball as a kid growing up, a no-hitter was something that was like a myth to you.
Right.
It was like something that rarely happened. And I mean, I've played baseball growing up in school, as well as 1, 2, 3 on my 4th youngest one here with Dixie. So I mean, we've been a huge baseball family, and like no hitters is like almost something that you never get to be part of, you never get to see. You can play it. Go ahead, go for it.
Sorry, no. I didn't mean to. I was trying.
No, I thought you were playing some kind of tune there in the background.
No. It was
a ball game. I thought you had a sound bite queued up there.
No. I was trying to pull up a different article about this Corey deal. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But if you've never seen one of these as an adult, when I see a no-hitter, it still amazes me. So and to put it in perspective to everyone that's listening out there, that's 101 pitches that Corey threw. And not a single player hit a ball. Put one in play.
You put one in play, that's right.
So, Ryan, have you ever seen a no-hitter in person?
No. And to your point, let's see here. I can tell you talk about how big it was. Let me see here. If I can remember this pitcher's name. Yep. I think it's him. Yes, 2007.
But just to add to it, though, it was the Yankees' first no-hitter since David Cohn threw his in July of 1999.
I remember that.
So, man, that's been a few years since New York had
David
one of these.
That was, and you talk about it, that was a big deal when David Cohn threw that. Like, I remember. Okay, so here, I can find this one for you. This will be September 1st, 2007. Clay Buchholz for the Red Sox. Second career start. Those are the no. Okay, if you go back to September 1st, 2007, that was a Saturday. Unless I'm crazy, but no, it's a Saturday. I remember this day. Yeah, this is a Friday. It's got to be this guy. Anyways, okay, maybe it's not Clay Buchholz. I'm pretty sure it was, but whatever. There was a no thrown on a college football Saturday because I remember coming home from a college football game and a no had been thrown. It may have been a perfect game. And instead of talking about all the college football in the world, they were talking about a no-hitter in baseball or a perfect game. It's like, wow. Like, that's how big of a deal this used to be. Like, college football Saturday was getting shoved to the side to break down a guy not giving up a hit or giving up a hit. And it was just, me and my dad were like, turn on. I'm almost positive it was Clay Buchholz. Maybe, because I remember he was a Red Sox guy. But anyways, but think about that. Can you imagine today turning on Sports Center in the middle of a college football season and they're like, well, let's get away from this and go to a no-no. They're like, yeah, the no-no. So it's really lost its kind of luster, hadn't it?
I don't know. Not for me. Not for me, man.
Not about nationally, like within the sports universe, though. It doesn't seem to have the people.
This
Don't
is
stop.
why I'm bringing it up, because I think, I still think that no hitters are amazing. I don't. When I saw this one yesterday, of course, I do watch the sports news, headlines when it comes up. But when I saw this one yesterday, there wasn't a lot of people talking about it. And you are right; it has kind of lost a bit of its luster. But I just want to make everyone, aware or realize that what actually goes into, a no hitter. Like I said, that's 101 pitches. People can't think 101 seconds without making a mistake. This guy put 101 pitches past all those guys without one of those professional that get paid to do it hit a baseball.
So
it's not like he, it's not like Corey was at like a charity, home run hit event. He was slinging, everything he had for 101 pitches, and the guys that got paid to do it didn't hit a single one. So
did he give up a walk?
Walk. He gave up a walk. He gave up a walk in the last inning.
Okay.
So, but still, no wood on it.
No, that's fantastic.
No wood. But hey, I still think no hitters are amazing.
I do too.
If you've ever pitched any kind of ball in your life, you'll know how hard that is. But also, while we're talking about baseball here, we're gonna talk about this pitch that Kevin Pillar took in the face. So, again, if anyone's ever played ball before, one of the things that always kind of when you're coming up, one of the things that always worries you. I say worries you. It doesn't really worry you. Until you take one. It doesn't really. When you take one of these, and hey, Ben, how you doing, buddy? You don't want to. Ben saying you don't ever want to talk about baseball.
Don't listen to Ben.
Okay, so
Ben is Ben. Go respond to that email that you owe me. How about that?
Oh,
yeah. Shots fired.
Boom.
Coming in here swinging, I'm gonna swing back. And the beautiful thing is, I have the microphone, so he can't clap at me too hard. I'm sorry, Ben. You're gonna crush me at 3:00. I know it's coming now. I know it's coming.
Oh, you got one coming at 3.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this pitch here. Let's see what happens.
Every batter's bad dream right here. I tell you, I woke up being hit in the face, in a dream with a baseball. I had one of my youngest wouldn't even get close to the plate because he was afraid to get hit in the face.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Pillar here, Mets outfielder, took it in the face and walked off the field under his own power. He was pretty banged up, but let's see what we got here. Oh. Hold on. I'm going to slow that down.
I don't know if I want to see it slowed down.
I'm going to slow.
Oh, it looks. Look at it jump off his face.
Look.
So he didn't even reacted. Like,
hold on. If you listen to the commentator, well, I'm probably going to get copyrighted on this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's give it a little bit of volume here. How about that?
Okay.
Let's get it jacked up here. Listen to the commentator.
Oh my!
That ain't the helmet, homie.
Was he watching the same thing we were? I
think that sound. It sounds like.
It's terrible. That sound is terrible. But I want to draw. What I also want to draw your attention to is that 94. And how far that pitch was out of the box.
Oh, well, he doesn't even react. That's what's so crazy is that he doesn't even move he doesn't turn or duck. Like
If you watch this pitch though,
watch, he never turns his head. Watch.
What the pitcher thought it was going to do was he thought it was going to drop back inside the box, probably a sinker there. But for some reason, this bad boy basically was headed for the stands.
Look at that bounce. As soon as it hits him, look at it. This goes.
Oh no, you hear it coming off his forehead.
I know. Oh God, I don't want to hear it again.
Oh
man. Oh.
Now the pitcher's thinking, I've taken this guy completely out.
Oh.
And this is the after photo.
Yikes.
Now, he still got tissue hanging out of his nose, fractured nasal cavities, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
bad.
I mean, the commentator even thought it hit him in the helmet. I mean, he wouldn't even. I'm not understanding. But Ryan, if that's a headache, toothache, just about any ache, earache, migraine, anything that can happen, I'm sure happened at that moment. I mean, like I said, I got hit in the forehead, close as I ever came, but I mean, it wasn't. I wasn't paying attention. I mean, yeah, my forehead was kind of big at the time, still is, but I got nailed during practice one time, and so did my oldest one. Nailed hard enough to where it left the laces in its forehead. So again, this one hit Pillar right in the face, 94.5 mile per hour guy, got up on his own power and walked away. Now, guys and ladies out there, that's a lot of power hitting you dead in the face. That's where it's probably worse than getting hit by Mike Tyson.
It's up there. It's up there for sure.
It's certainly in the range of not ever wanting to experience that kind of pain. So while we're talking about getting hit in the face, Ryan, we're going to jump over here and talk about UFC 262. I know you didn't get to, watch it, but man, it was a good one. I had so ringside was $6 million man. So for anybody that's old enough to remember that, it was Lee Majors. He was sitting about 2 rows back, right from ringside. So a few other fighters were there. WWE's Goldberg was there. He made an appearance. Had Dana White.
Goldberg.
Dana White in a headlock for a little bit. So yeah, but all the talk was about Souza and Munez and how kind of snapped his arm during submission. And I mean,
kind of snap. Listen, you don't kind of snap your arm. It's like being pregnant. Either your arm is snapped or.
Well, I'm going on that because I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was a submission, but I mean, he just broke his arm. I mean, the fight was over regardless what had happened, but he didn't submit.
Yeah.
No, he went full on. His arm was broken. Basically, that was it. But they called it a submit.
Yeah.
Whether you do it, out of your own consciousness or unconsciously, it was a submit. But
I don't think the fighters, at some point, the fighter can't be allowed to determine whether or not he or she is able to continue. And I'm fine with you breaking if a bone breaks and the ref calls it, because if the bone breaks, a slight fracture is one thing, a little pop. But you talk about a compound break, it could puncture the skin. It
is. Yeah, it could become pretty bad. So, that's why it got off.
People get mad about that. Well, listen, you're tough. You don't submit. You got my respect. But there is the ref's job is to stop the fight when he thinks that a fighter can no longer defend himself or herself or whatever, whoever's fight, boys or girls, properly. And if you break an arm or a bone, then that's part of it. So.
It is. But where I was sitting at, Ryan, I think I shared this photo with you.
No, you don't think you did. You know you did. Don't think you did. You don't play that to the crowd.
So
no. Don't say no. No. You're not. No, you're not getting off the hook with I think I did. You know you did. Here's what happened. We got invited to these people's house.
So you got invited to someone's house, but you couldn't watch the match, so you blame me for sending you a photo?
I'm just telling you. No, I'm just saying. Some people from church invited us and a couple other couples
Oh,
over
yeah.
for dinner, and so we went to dinner at their house. And I told my kids, I said, "Hey, the prelims be on. Y'all can watch that, but I'm not gonna pay per view because I won't be back in time." And so I'm sitting there at dinner. We're having a lovely time. I ain't talking about the fights. I didn't check my phone, nothing. And then here you come off the top rope like Macho Man Randy Savage with that picture. And it's like, oh,
Well,
man.
you're sitting there having a dinner with your church peeps.
Yeah, just kind of hanging out, relaxing, and then it's like, oh, I could be at home watching this, but no. And so then I sit back, I'm jealous. Yeah, uh-huh. And so don't act like I think I sent you that. You know what you did to me. You know what you did.
I did send the photo, but the reason I'm sharing the photo, other than continuously rubbing it in, was the
Yeah.
fact that where I was at, I couldn't see um the actual break take place. I heard
Yeah.
the crowd, and then got up and was trying to see. I mean, it's still, although the depth perception here in this photo, it doesn't really lend it to kind of your eye, but it's still quite a ways away from the
It's a long
ring.
way away, yeah.
Yeah,
We went
but
to one in Dallas. It was called The Art of War, I think is what it was. Enrico Rodriguez fought on it years ago. This is back in 2005. And we sat kind of like where you were in a suite. And the cool thing was you could see down into the cage like you can there. The bad thing is kind of like you're saying, like you can't actually get all of the when stuff's going on. It's kind of hard to make out exactly what's happening. But
now, I mean, from this perspective right here, I mean, these, I can't remember what the Toyota Center screen size is, but there's a massive, and so I mean, it's right in your face and I mean, it's all every event I've ever gone to at the Toyota Center. Even, I was my daughter's 18th birthday. That would have been 3 years ago. I took her to Rockets in the 4 years ago, or 3 years ago. Yeah. Anyway, I took her to the Rockets, and who was it at the time? Was it the Warrior? Anyway, on the night of her birthday, or for her 18th birthday, and we sat courtside. And I mean, the events that they put on there and the way that they handle the events are excellent. They put on a really good show there, so all the way around. And I mean, I was actually really impressed with the event that UFC put on here. It was a really good event. Well done. Well
I'm
done.
sure it was. But some of
But
us wouldn't
but you called it. Last week, we talked about 262, and you called Oliviera, and I called Chandler. And hey, man, so the first round, I personally think Chandler was a bit stronger in the first round, but when they came out after the bell in the second round, it was over with. I think Oliviera took a few more than he wanted to in the first round, and didn't get his punches landed, but or even hits landed, strikes rather. But man, I'm going to tell you from a winner's perspective, from watching him, I think this is him on his 8th win. So that's the longest streak, I think, in UFC history right now. But he was so humble. I mean, it was. I mean, he was so humble throughout the entire thing. I mean, it just if you're gonna fight like Olivia, that's the guy that he's doing an amazing job. So anyway, it was a good night.
I bet it was.
Hold on just a second. I got one more thing I wanted to bring up about this event. So I'm fixing to put Uber on blast, so get ready. I had we finished up with the event. It was a long night, but got out, and of course, I know this on demand thing, and I mean, and people love it. I mean, but it's completely off the rails here whenever they're having this so-called surge periods. So I'm going to throw this photo up here. Now, this was 12:30 when we started looking for it, but these are some of the prices at 10 minutes to 1. Now, that is just your normal low run-of-the-mill four-door car. You can put probably 5-10 gallons of fuel in it. Put your hand on the top end and pull it back. And I mean, that's $135.80.
Full start.
The Comfort is slightly bigger, but not much. It's kind of like that $80 you pay for the exit row legroom on United. That's $168.15. Uber XL, which is basically your RAV4. If anybody's ever ridden in a RAV4, it's basically a car that's a little bit higher off the ground, and it's square, and it gives you slightly more headroom. That was $270.42. Uber Green, which EV push, $137.94, $2 more than your gas powered model. Now, what I didn't do is I didn't scroll down and look at the Uber Blacks or anything else there, but I just want to stop here for a moment and say that a normal ride costs anytime that there's not an event, say $60-$70 downtown from where we are, right? And so that's a good 20 miles or so, 21 miles down to the center from where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the on-demand thing was from the beginning was supposed to be to get more competition in the market to make prices better. Now, Uber, you can suck it right here. Like, I'm tired of this $135s, $165. It doesn't make any sense because we know the ratio to cab drivers versus Uber drivers is nowhere the same now. So there's hundreds and hundreds of more Uber drivers at 1 o'clock in the morning than there are taxis available. So how can you charge $135 for an Uber ride when there's 50 of them in your location? Are all 50 of these getting booked every second? No, they're not. So what you're doing right here is you're price gouging. So you can take that for what it is. At the end of the day, the wife and I waited around for a Lyft 30, 45 minutes later and grabbed it for $70. So that's how Lyft's killing Uber here. So Uber, if you want to be competitive, you need to do something about your prices because that's terrible. I wouldn't go buy a jug of milk for $15. Now I'd go buy a gallon of gas for $6, but it's because I do it for a living, right? I mean, I can't hate on gas prices, man.
Well, when gas is $6, your milk will be 50 a gallon. So
You're right. There'll be a lot of stuff that'll be more expensive. But anyway, that's my spiel on Uber and UFC 262. But speaking about fights, Ryan, did you see this one about GSP and Oscar De La Hoya?
I saw that GSP's camp said that they that the UFC blocked him from boxing.
So Triller Flat Club head Ryan Kavanaugh spoke out last week and said that they attempted to make GSP a lucrative offer to box Oscar De La Hoya later this year. All of this comes off the back of Anderson Silva sticking up for GSP and saying that Dana should have let him, but Dana blocked the offer, citing that he was still under contract, even though he's retired from MMA. So basically what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, is that the UFC still makes a lot of money off GSP just showing up at UFC events, kissing babies and shaking hands. So they're still making a lot of money off of just his face and name. So it's not like Dana's out there going, you can't do this because you have a contract in place. That's why we don't want your face getting beat off by Oscar De La Hoya up in the ring at a Triller event, because that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to get your face beat off and even a potential knockout coming from De La Hoya on GSP. I'm telling you, without a shadow of a doubt, it's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to get your face knocked off. It's going to be just the same way with every other boxer, every other UFC match that happens, same thing. Ryan?
I don't know. So
you don't think De La Hoya knocked GSP's face off? I'm sure of it.
Well, okay. Let me say why.
Go ahead.
De La Hoya seems to have a pretty big substance abuse problem. I'm not sure he can clear that up to train and then to get in the ring. So I'm not sure that the De La Hoya. So if you have a kind of substance abuse free De La Hoya, 10 out of 10 times you're right. But if he comes in there and he's kind of on a bender, man, I don't know. Again, maybe still his talents are so much greater than GSP's, he can still get him, but I'm not confident that De La Hoya even has the
Put
capacity.
De La Hoya and Jake Paul. Do
Now we're talking.
De La Hoya and Jake Paul. They
Okay.
both probably come in there on a bender. But Anderson Silva, on the other hand, will be fighting Julio
Oh my God.
Cesar Chavez Jr. on June the 19th, if anyone is interested. So
How
do
long?
you think that's
How
going
long does that last?
I don't know. I'd probably rather watch this match here with Cyborg versus Smith here on Bellator than I would Silva and Chavez Jr. So
Let's see here. Let's see here. Let me pull up. Oh, these are all videos I want to watch. I wanted to pull up an article real quick. What do you think, though? You think they should let GSP fight?
Man, I'm going to be quite honest here. If I'm always a big contract guy, and I mean,
Yeah.
if he still got terms and conditions on his contracts that obviously he can't meet because he's going to be getting his face beat in, then I side with Dana on this. I mean, typically, you look at the stuff that Dana does on a year by year basis, and actually, event by event basis with his fighters, and I think, you know, from my perspective, I could be wrong, but I see that he does more than most associations does for their athletes or people that work with them. So I think whatever his decision here was probably a business related decision and not necessarily a decision based on GSP's future. So
Yeah, and so I don't know how this applies. So the UFC used to have a champions clause in their contract, which meant if you were the champion and you quit, they basically could hang on to your rights perpetually. GSP last fight, he was the champion. Now they've crowned a new champion since then at 185. So I don't know if he's still locked in from that angle, or if it's just simply a time they have your rights for so long, and then he can be free. But
I have to go back and look at that. I think I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest. So
yeah, and that was a big deal back in the day. They had Randy Couture was a champion, and he wanted to go fight somewhere else. Like, no, you're the champ, and so it's been a thing. So I don't know. I'm assuming they said that in the contracts. I don't know how that applies when they crown a new champion or whatnot. But anyways, so as far as if De La Hoya gets cleaned up though, and he gets his act together, yeah, he goes in there and just destroys GSP. It won't even be close.
but it'll draw spectators because of who they are.
Of course, I'll watch. I didn't say
Triller knows that, and they're leveraging what do you want to call it? They're leveraging the second, tier level fighters here coming out of retirement or whatever.
Right.
So they know the market that they're after, and they're capitalizing on it big time.
Yep, I agreed.
I can't fault them, man.
Taking the buck. I'm not mad.
Do it, man. I like seeing the older guys come back out and fight, man.
If they can.
I mean, you have to look for even, some of the older, ladies coming out. I mean, just think about, if Rousey came back out as well as, some of the other ones came back out. I mean, would you not see one of those? I would. I'd go watch it. Why
If
not?
they could still fight, like I don't want to watch Chuck Liddell fight again. I watched him fight Tito the third time. That was terrible. He can't fight anymore.
Oh yeah. By the way, he was at 262 as well. He was ringside. Liddell.
And Dana White said that Oscar still owed Chuck money, if I remember correctly, at that press conference.
Still owe Chuck money?
Yeah, or didn't pay Chuck. Yeah, there was a comment about Oscar De La Hoya's credibility, and Dana goes, "Go ask Chuck Liddell. He's here. Ask him how much he got paid or something like that." So, you'll see.
Oh, we got some debts that hadn't been paid. Is that what it is?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Oscar snorted the rest of that up.
That's quite possible. Quite possible,
man. But I'm gonna tell you, back in the day, you couldn't get a better guy to land a punch than Oscar De La Hoya, man.
Oh, go back and watch his old fights. They're great.
Oh,
Great.
these guys in their prime, man, were amazing. All right. Just as a reminder, anyone that's just joining us, we're sponsored by 14 and 7 Apparel. They're a small family-owned apparel company based in Alberta. They have roots in oil and agriculture. So everybody get in there and download the Lynx application and visit 14 and 7 and get your 10% off today. Once you download the app, then you can visit 14and7apparel.ca. Use the discount code that is sent by email with your email verification once you register with us. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Neil. Thanks for the comment, Neil. Let's see here. One more thing, Ryan. We're going to talk about, to wrap up the show. These are, Ryan, we talked about some kind of wild things here on overtime, but this one here kind of takes it for me. I mean, this is, the makers of Atomic say that the Ukraine Secret Service took 1,500 bottles of distilled alcohol. Now, Atomic is made. Can't even believe I'm saying this. Atomic. Here's a bottle of it.
Is this the Onion?
Atomic? No, it's not. Atomic is made. Atomic is made from apples grown in Ukraine's Nerdichi district, which sits on the edge of the exclusion zone and was heavily polluted by the fallout from the Chernobyl meltdown. This region still has a population of nearly 10,000 people, according to Ukraine's state stat service. And they're saying they must abide by stringent agricultural restrictions. Now, why would you distill alcohol from apples at Chernobyl? I mean, just to say you did it. I mean, maybe for a joke, maybe a bottle to say, here, I did it. I mean, Ryan, what do you think?
So, in all seriousness,
alcohol from Chernobyl apples, man.
Right. Well, in all seriousness, I would buy a bottle if the price point was right, just to say that I had the bottle. Like, just to be like, oh, this is Chernobyl. I would probably never drink it, probably never open it, might keep it inside of a lead case so I don't get some kind of radioactive poisoning. But it would be a pretty cool novelty item, I think.
Since then, the founders have changed their recipe from a rye-based booze to an apple-based one. But according to Smith, this distillation process still renders the final product completely radiation-free. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Atomic is completely radiation-free, but it still comes from apples that are from Chernobyl.
That would be a cool bottle to have at your house. Like, this is my Chernobyl vodka over here.
I'm not disputing the fact that it would be a good chatting point, but it's still the thought in your mind about where it came from and what it done. I mean, or what happened there. So what year was that, Ryan? Where's that cloud at? There used to be a website that used to track that fallout cloud. Do you?
I never seen that.
I think I don't know if the cloud's still going around the world or what, but I mean,
Chernobyl was in 86.
It was a while back, yeah.
I was 1. I wasn't even 1, actually. I was almost 1.
What are you saying?
Just facts. Just saying facts.
Just the facts.
Just facts.
I mean,
just facts. I wasn't even 1.
I mean, I was 11. So, but again, 11 or 1. I'm not having a bottle of Atomic. So I don't even know how you could get your hands on one, Ryan.
Well, I'm not ordering one now that the freaking Ukrainian Secret Service is coming to get you.
Ukraine Secret Service. I got all my booze. I haven't raided my house. I got all my booze.
I don't want none of that. So
imagine telling the investors in the company that the Secret Service showed up today and took all your product.
They're like, the U.S. Secret Service? Like, no, the Ukrainian Secret Service.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
That is brutal. Well, that kind of brings us to an end there, right? But again, I mean, if you're interested in Atomic, I mean, there's probably they're probably selling it on eBay. I don't even have to go back and look at it. Maybe they had a few older bottles hanging around, but who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Exactly.
But I'd like to thank our sponsors, 14-7 Apparel, and hey, get in there, check them out. They got plenty of deals on the go. But yeah, that's all for us this week. Uh, maybe we'll do a best of next week and throw it out there. But Ryan, we'll try to catch up the following week. So yeah,
Yep. Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
that is a wrap. Thanks everybody for coming to the show, and we will see you next time.
Take care.
Bye. You've been watching Overtime, a live series brought to you by Lynx and War Room Media. Your hosts have been Greg Williams and Ryan Ray. For sponsorship opportunities, send us an email at info@riglings.com. Tune in next Thursday at 10 a.m. CST for another live episode.